Hey, it's Ayla, and you are listening to Not That Kind of CEO. Have you ever started your day determined that today would be different? And by lunchtime, you're already three tasks behind, you're snapping at your kids, and you're low key wondering if you should just shut the whole business down because you clearly suck at this. Yeah? In this episode, I'm going to tell you why that spiral has nothing to do with your discipline or your strategy or your worth. And it has everything to do with the most expensive thing you owned and that you're casually spending like it's unlimited. Hi, I'm Ayla, and I am not that kind of CEO. You won't find me in a fancy corner office, but rather in a quiet corner of my home. I followed a bold vision and built my life and business around it. That's how I ended up in France, where I'm raising two little girls, renovate our 500-year-old castle together with my husband, run a coaching business, and still have space to breathe. After a decade of helping women simplify their business to make room for what matters most, I created this show to help you do the same. Let's build your business around the life you love. Welcome to Not That Kind of CEO. Hey, my love, welcome back to the show. I am so happy that you are here. I am seeing a spike in listeners lately, and I'm just so grateful that more women are finding the show. And I just wanted to thank you for coming here and listening. And I really hope that today's episode is going to help you out because this is something that I see a lot in female entrepreneurs with little kids. It's basically not having enough time to set up your life and your business in the way that you want, meaning always feeling behind on everything, not achieving goals. Well, basically, what happens a lot is externalizing this and blaming your personal life as a mom for your lack of success as an entrepreneur. Like being jealous of moms who do have successful businesses and then sort of going like, oh, must be nice that they have a house manager. So stuff like that, because well, the mistake here is that you're treating this whole issue as a time problem. And that's where that comes in. It must be nice to have a house manager because that means that she has so much more time than I have. Or you're seeing it as a lack of discipline in yourself. So that would actually be you internalizing it and just talking badly to yourself. And I don't like it when you talk to yourself like that. But I get it, because it's how we're trained by society. You didn't achieve the goal? Okay, well, you probably didn't have enough discipline. You're still too fat. You should just eat less. You should have some discipline. Look at what you're stuffing into your mouth. A moment on the lips is forever on the hips. It's stuff like that we heard when we grew up and that's still living in our heads. It just makes, when we are feeling behind on everything and setting those goals but then not achieving them and not even knowing where your day went, stuff like that. It sort of makes it make sense because that's what you heard when you grew up. But the problem here, as I said, is that you're treating this as a time problem. And I just wonder if it is a time problem or if it is maybe like a focus problem. Because if you keep treating your energy as an infinite resource and a cheap resource, you'll keep giving it away to other things. And you're never going to give anything your full and deserved attention. And whenever you keep going with your life, you keep going on with your life like this, everything keeps feeling like it's half done, which means that progress feels slow, which means that you're always busy, never proud. And I think that's a very important one. I'll come back to it in a sec. And business growth always just feels a little bit out of reach. And then you're being very hard on yourself. You're trying to work even harder because you're like, I'm not getting what I want. I should work harder. And then you're spending even more of that energy. And so you're creating a vicious circle. I really liked what I wrote down, sticking up a few feathers into my own ass right now, but I really liked what I wrote down. Always busy, never proud, because that's how I felt for the longest time when I was pivoting from being a VA to being a coach and then wanting to take it bigger, switching to English. And I was always busy, but never proud because you can always stay busy. Like there are so many things that you can do that are not actually moving the needle. And at the end of the day, there's like a short moment where you're like, I am proud because I've been so busy today. Like, I have been working all day. Like, what's the result? Nothing. But I've been busy. But in the long run, that's not gonna make you feel proud because you're not actually getting there. So that's why I wanted to create this episode on you and the way that you treat your energy. Because I actually heard this from my soon to be best friend. Like, I've been saying it for years now, like any day it's going to happen now. Taylor Swift is about to become my best friend. And I recently listened to the podcast episode that she did with her husband. He's not yet her husband, I think. And his teammate, brother. They have a sports podcast. I don't listen to sport podcasts. And I also hardly ever, like, I'm a musical Swiftie, so I listen to her music. I am not really invested in her private life. So I never actually watch interviews and stuff like that. And so this podcast episode is way old by now, but I listened to it recently. I don't know why, but I was inspired to listen to it and I was like, oh, this is cool. And one thing she said was, I think it was in regards with social media and how people are spending their energy there. And she was saying, you should treat your energy like a priceless commodity. Like, your energy is so fucking expensive, no one can afford it. And I was like, that's a really interesting thought. And also because I'm so trained to talk people through outsourcing scenarios where you calculate what your hourly rate is, so you know when you can outsource something. So when she said it, I was like, yeah, but that's actually because your energy is a priceless commodity. Like, the hourly rate of Taylor Swift, if you were to calculate it, it would be like no one can afford it. So that is, when she says it, it actually makes a lot of sense. But I think, and that's what made it so interesting, is she's not saying that because she's a gazillionaire. She's saying it because it's true. And it's a perfect way to look at your energy. So there's a little story here that I wanted to tell you because I wrote something down and I was like, this is actually so applicable to your energy that when you see it this way, you'll go, oh, okay, oh my God. So in 2012, we're going back a bit here. This is right before I started in roles where I was supporting entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. I actually came from a job working in a Hilton hotel where I served as a guest service supervisor. So that's a supervisor of the reception area. And I did that because I studied hotel management. Like, I have my bachelor in business administration with a focus on hotel management. And I always thought that I was going to be a hotel manager when I grew up. And I was there being a supervisor and realizing that I could not, for the love of me, upsell a room. Like, if someone came in and my manager was just looking at me like, yeah, this is the perfect couple to upsell a junior suite to them. And I would just stand there and go, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to even open up the conversation of, oh, nice room you booked. Do you want to buy a suite instead? Like that. It did not make any sense at all in my head, like the value of having a suite and then just selling it to them. And so I realized when I want to climb the corporate ladder into hotel management, which at the time I thought that I wanted, I need to become more commercial. And so I quit my job and I got a job in sales over the phone. I was selling advertisements in newspaper issues. They were like these theme issues that would be inserted into national newspapers. And so, like, the theme of one of those inserts would be living or something like that, like home. And then you would come up with a bunch of articles around that theme and you would make a list of companies that would really be a great match. And that I could get behind because it actually makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're like an IKEA, for example, would you want your products to be featured next to an article about how nice it is to have a nice living room? Or would you want your advertisement to be featured next to a news article in which they talk about how bad it is that we're all chopping down wood to make cheap furniture? It the context makes things more logical. So I could get behind this concept. What I could not get behind was selling over the phone. I was so fucking bad at it. I I had to call people all I just had a list in front of me of people that I should call, and every time I had to press the button to dial a number, I would sweat and get like my heart would beat and I would just go, "Oh my god, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this." But I did it anyway, and then I talked with some marketing manager who talks to people like me all the fucking day long, and they just go, "Is it interesting?" No, you know what? It's a whole system. They already have a budget and it's already allocated and stuff like that. Plus they know these kinds of inserts and they know that you're going to open up with like a full price thing advertisement, but then in a few weeks time you only have a few spots left, so you're going to give discounts because you just want to close your insert and be done with the project, you know. So everyone I called was saying, "Oh, that sounds really lovely, call me back in like 6 weeks when you're closing it down and you have a few spots left." And I would just like innocent little me would just write that down in my system, and then when my manager asked for my results, I would just go, "They were really nice, but they asked if I could call back in a few weeks time." And my manager would just go, "Yeah, but we're not going to do that, are we? You're going to call them back tomorrow." And I was like, "I'm not going to call them back tomorrow. They asked me to call them in 6 weeks. I'm not going to call them tomorrow." He's like, "Yes, you're going to call them tomorrow." It was awful. One time, he actually made me say to an actual human being on the phone, he was like, I need to have this kid selling better. I need to have her have more urgency." So he made me say to someone on the phone, "Choo choo, the train is leaving and you're about to miss it." So I was sitting there just going, "Are you sure you don't want to buy this advertisement spot? Because choo choo, the train is about to leave and you're gonna miss it." I was dying. I was wishing for a hole in the ground to swallow me up. And I was just like, "Nope, nope, nopey, nope, don't want to do this." I did not last long in this job. The one thing I learned, and that has helped me over and over and over and over and over again in the time since, is one sentence that he said to me and that I wrote down on a post it, put it up on my monitor, and that I think I actually took it with me when I went and I had like a box of my stuff. A post it that says, "Without a sense of urgency, the desire loses its value." Without a sense of urgency, the desire loses its value. Yes, I'm saying it 2 times because I want you to really hear it. Basically, what I'm trying to say here, you know that you are not to give your energy away. You know that you should work focusedly. You should focus when you work, is what I want to say. You know that when you put your mind to something, you're going to finish it. And when you finish it, you're going to make progress. And when you make progress, you'll feel proud. You'll still be busy, but at least you'll feel proud. And if you are not feeling a sense of urgency about not wanting to give away your energy, the desire to guard your energy is going to fall away. If you're gonna start treating your energy as if it's finite, which it is, and if it's priceless, which it also is, you're gonna have a feeling of wanting to guard it. You're gonna wanna guard your energy because, well, if this would be money, for example, like I don't want to talk any limiting money beliefs into your head here, but if your money was finite, then you're gonna think twice about what you spend it on. Also, if it's infinite, I still hope that you're going to think about what you're spending it on, but that's a different conversation for a different day. If your energy is finite and priceless, you're going to guard it. You're going to want a task to be over as soon as possible because you want to guard your energy. You're not going to want to waste your energy on some stupid task. You're going to hate that you're doing it yourself because, damn, you pricey. Like this in this scenario, when you flip your brain to this, does it make sense for you to answer all the emails that you get? Like I get a lot of guest requests for my podcast and I hired someone to do it for me, like to answer them and to give them the link to where they want to apply. And 9 out of 10 times, no one is replying because it's some PR agent just pitching someone, but not actually wanting to take any effort to actually fill in some questions. So then, she is actually My VA is already saving me a bunch of energy because I don't have to be the one who is making like the first shift of this is a good fit and this is not a good fit. So that's wonderful. I'm guarding my energy there. And this goes like for all the tiny tasks that you have. I just last week I have another VA who's working with me on editing my videos, and she's helping me put out my podcast and stuff like that. And I suddenly realized, like, I don't know why I never realized that before, but I was struggling with my scheduler for social media, and it's not working great on YouTube, so I do YouTube separately. And I made a mistake in something and I had to go back like 5 times into both schedulers. And I was just cursing myself and just saying, why am I doing this myself in the fucking first place? Like let her take care of this. I write the posts. She can schedule them. That's not something that my skill is needed for. In fact, she's probably better at it than I am. What the fuck am I thinking that I'm gonna just do this myself? Like, nope, it's yours now. And that's what happens when you start guarding your energy like it's finite. You're automatically gonna start to use time blocks. You're gonna stick to those time blocks then as well because it's not because when you hear someone say you should really use time blocks to up your productivity, you just go, oh, I should really use time blocks to up my productivity. But it doesn't mean anything. When you're guarding your energy, you can see why you're doing that time block because you don't want to spend more energy on it than you've allocated to it. Like that's where it ends. Goodbye. You're going to set a time block. You're going to set stricter boundaries. You're going to outsource quicker. And this is all going to protect that energy. You're going to protect your energy by not doing low return on investment tasks because you're not needed for them. Like your skill set is somewhere else. It's just what I said just with my VA, that's you're a smart person. I don't need to explain it to you twice. You're going to stop emotional spirals before they happen because you ain't got no time for that. You are not going to sit there and think about how you're not getting the results that you wanted to get and how you're feeling like a big fat failure and why that is making you sad. You're going to dust yourself off and try again because your energy is worth something and you better spend it doing something that's going to help your business grow. And that's way easier to do when you know what you're worth energy wise. You are also gonna stop comparing yourself to other people because that just happens. You don't want to spend your energy there. That's such a waste of energy. Comparing to other people just makes no sense. You can pull yourself up to other people. That's what I want you to do. Like if you see someone you admire, go check them out. Go check out what they do. Go check out how they made it possible. Go check out their routines and stuff like that. And then you try to adapt it to your world. Don't go sit there and go, "Oh, but they have this and it's so nice." No. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to use them as a shiny example and then shine on your own. What's also going to happen when you start treating your energy very preciously is you're going to block other people's urgencies from stealing your energy. And yes, those can be your kids. I am specifically naming kids here because my kids are always stealing my energy. And I mean that in the most loving way possible because well, I love them and I want to feed them and I want to make sure that they have clean clothes and I want to make sure that they themselves are clean and stuff like that. And no, I will never ignore a kid that's sitting on a toilet just going, "Mommy, can you wipe my butt?" Yes, I will answer to that. I do have strict boundaries about what kind of behavior I won't accept from them because it's just if they're just nagging or droning on about something that they want and they can't have it, and like, "Mommy, I want to watch TV." Like, no, that kind of crap, and my husband as well, we cut stuff off pretty quickly. Like, stop. It's their urgency. No, don't let it steal your energy. This also means guarding your email inbox. I really like the way I don't remember who I learned this from, but Your inbox is just a reflection of other people's emergencies and priorities. And that's usually what it is. Or if it's your team members wanting something from you, then you should have a system for that. Not just randomly go send each other emails, but discuss things in a efficient way. But for the rest, most of the things that land in your inbox are other people's priorities and energies. And should you get back to them? Of course, you're not a dick, but also do it in a moment that's not like your peak energy time. Just no. I have two more things written down. One of them, context switching. Something you automatically like I'm hoping that you're getting this and not getting it backwards. It's not like it's basically just what I said with the time blocking. Because I'm saying that you need to be stopping context switching because that's the thing I wrote down, context switching. Doesn't mean that you now should go to yourself and sit down and say, "Oh, I should really stop context switching because it's costing me so much energy." Like, no, flip it, please. I want to guard my energy, and therefore I'm not going to be context switching. Like, I'm going to be batching, making podcast episodes, creating content for social media, working on my program. I'm going to be batching coaching calls all in one day because that's when I have my coaching hat on. It's stuff like that that's really going to guard your energy because then the rest of the week you don't have to think about tasks like this and you can spend that energy elsewhere. Last thing I wrote down, what you really should do if you want to protect your energy is check out your own cycle, your menstrual cycle, because working against that is unseeingly, invisibly, is invisibly gonna steal your energy so much. I very often, when I'm behind on something, I just want to get it done. I'm like, I should just get it done now. And I try to force something out in my luteal phase in a moment that I'm just worth nothing. And simply because I have said to myself that I want to finish something, like I could also postpone that a week until I actually have the energy to do it. And that is guarding your own energy from yourself. Okay. So if you are curious, so if you're like, this all sounds very lovely, I would like to guard my energy, but I don't know where the fuck I should even start because I have just so much on my plate. Like everyone is pulling me in a million directions. And that's why I'm always feeling behind and I don't know where to start getting my energy back. I've got a resource for you. It's the Where the Fuck Should I Even Start Toolkit. And it's just 3 simple questions for you to ask yourself, of course, not just ask the world, but for yourself. And it gives you an immediate insight into where you can start, where the fuck you should start. Basically, that's that's why I named it like that, because that's what it's gonna give to you. So if this is something that you're like, yes, I like where this is coming from, I should really do this, go grab the toolkit, go answer the questions, and in like I don't know, like 20 minutes from now, you'll be able to start setting up those boundaries and guarding your energy like the priceless and finite resource it is. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Not That Kind of CEO. And make sure to follow the show, if you will, because I have a bunch of episodes coming up that are amazing, if I say so myself. Next week, we're going to be talking about overthinking, and overthinking your business growth is actually normal. Like, that's chew on that for a bit, if you will. Overthinking is normal, but there's something else that you're not doing where it actually goes wrong. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So I'm hoping to see you there. And in the meantime, go grab that WTF toolkit. See you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Not That Kind of CEO. If this episode gave you clarity, encouragement, or just even a moment to breathe, I'd love it if you left a review. It helps more women like you find this show, and that means the world to me. And if you're ready to build a business that fits your life, you know where to find me. See you in the next episode.